Hey, congrats on making it to day 5 of Crack Your Course Idea. This session is where we put all the pieces together into your home run course idea, because your journey to a profitable and fulfilling course starts with a profitable and fulfilling idea. So many people spend months or even years either searching for the right idea or, maybe worse, moving forward with the wrong idea, which can mean years of wasted time, money, and effort. But as you've seen, you can avoid all of this when you have the right guidance and support. So today we're going to do something really special. Oh my God. We're going to create what I call your course mission using my famous Mission Possible template. Your course mission is essentially the finish line in the course, or exactly what someone will do, be, feel, have, overcome, or achieve through your program or course. It's the promise of your course and what your students are really saying yes to. And this is something that nobody else teaches. But as you'll see in just a moment, it's the secret sauce for designing a successful course that gets people excited to buy and that gets huge results for both them and for your business too. On day 3, you discovered that up to 97% of people who buy traditional courses and info products just don't complete them or get results that they were promised, which has a catastrophic effect on your business, your sales, your reputation, and your students.
Damn, that ain't good.
But what you might not know is why. And believe it or not, it all comes down to a little quirk in our brain chemistry. Deep inside our brains, we have a punishment and reward system that's kept us alive since the dawn of human history. When we feel like we're making progress and winning, our brains release the happy chemicals. So naturally, we want to keep taking those actions and keep making progress. But when we're not making progress and not winning, the happy chemicals just stop flowing, and we experience negative feelings like frustration and even despair, causing us to disengage and give up. This, my friend, is the natural chemistry of motivation. And I've spent the last 9 years fine-tuning a system for designing online courses that work with rather than against our brain's natural ability to learn, so that you can get your students hooked on achieving their goals and becoming their best selves through you. My system taps into the very same brain science that Silicon Valley's been using for years with massive success to get people hyper-motivated to play games and use apps over and over again. It's the brain science behind global phenomena like TikTok, Instagram, and Candy Crush. Maybe you've seen someone get so deeply involved in an online app or a game that the outside world just seems to disappear, where you're so engaged and motivated to do the next thing and move to the next level and so on and so forth. Anyone with kids would know how all-consuming those apps and games can become. You could be standing right in front of them, waving madly, hello, but they can't hear you because they're so hooked into a game that's captured their full attention. So what's the common thread that runs through these Silicon Valley success stories and the system I've developed over the last 9 years to design online courses that tap into the same brain chemistry? Well, it all comes down to creating an experience. And not just any experience, but a deliberately crafted experience that draws on the science of learning, behavioral design, and gamification. And when it comes to courses, motivation always starts with what I call your mission. This is a short and powerful statement that tells people exactly what they're going to get from your course. The one concrete and specific outcome they'll receive if they buy and take your course. You may be asking yourself, why is this so important? Great question. And to answer, I want you to close your eyes and imagine a finish line in a well-known race, like the New York Marathon. Now let me ask you, is it crystal clear exactly where the finish line is? Yes or no? It is, right? Is it clear whether you've crossed that finish line? It's crystal clear again, right? Same goes with most other finish lines. Do you know how to get there? I mean, the exact route to take from start to finish? You absolutely would. Okay, last question. Imagine yourself crossing the finish line of a marathon or some kind of race. Do you feel any emotions coming up? Excitement, pride, joy, glory, confidence? Yes or no? You do, right? Now, think back to an online course you've taken in the past where you may have felt frustrated, or if you've never taken a course, a frustrating experience you may have had in school. Did they make it clear what the finish line of the course looked and felt like? How to find it? What you'll have achieved when you cross it? Or did you feel lost and confused about whether you're making progress, where the finish line actually was, how to know when you've crossed it? Take a look at masterclass.com, a famous education company with celebrity teachers and gorgeous production, but their trainings have absolutely no finish line. Here's what I mean by that. Take a look at this course, Cornell West Teaches Philosophy, where they teach you how to think more deeply, connect more closely, and live a more fruitful and meaningful life. Their finish line seems to be the fruitful and meaningful life, right? But how the do you know when you've crossed that finish line? Will you just wake up one day and know, oh, now I have a meaningful life? Honestly, there's no way to know when or if you've arrived, and that's the big problem with most courses. They usually don't give you a single inspirational, motivational, vivid, and easily findable finish line to strive for. And as a result, most people are going to give up partway through because they quite literally get lost, or they lose motivation because they don't feel like they're making forward progress toward that finish line that they can imagine in their minds. The exact thing they'll be able to do, be, feel, have, or overcome or achieve by the end. Many courses try to teach everything there is to know about a particular topic, or they try to cram too much content in, which is overwhelming and demotivating. Makes sense, right? How can you cross a finish line if it's just too far away in the case of the kitchen sink course, or if you don't know exactly where that finish line is or how to get there? And let's rewind quickly to what I just said about winning and how it triggers the happy chemicals. When we're not winning, when we don't know how to win, and don't even know where the finish line is, the happy chemicals simply stop flowing. And most people will find it extremely hard to continue taking action. It's that simple. So what's the solution? Believe it or not, the solution is actually to create much smaller courses. Courses that have one clear, focused, and specific finish line outcome. As simple as this sounds, 99% of course creators don't get this right, including me. In one of my early courses, Message to Money, I tried to teach people everything I knew about launching an online business. I had modules on business strategy, branding, product creation, web design, marketing, and even one for testing and analytics. Basically, it was 6 separate courses in one, all crammed into a single 6-week program. Now, my intentions were good. I wanted to give students everything they needed to launch an online business. But it just turned into this Frankenstein mega course that almost nobody bought and not many people finished. It was just too overwhelming. My version of the Encyclopedia Britannica, which translated into lots of refund requests and declining sales over time. And I never had the satisfaction of knowing that I was making a real difference in my students' lives. But I learned from that mistake, and now my Experience Product Masterclass gives people a highly focused and super inspirational finish line. How to design, launch, and profit from a specific kind of online course called an experience product in 12 weeks or less. And there's actually a hidden benefit to making your course outcome a lot more focused. I knew the exact minimum content that I needed to put into that course to help my students reach just that specific finish line without getting distracted and without getting overwhelmed.
Cool.
And on top of that, they also knew exactly what they were saying yes to, what the finish line looked like for them. And let me tell you, the difference in both sales and student success has been extraordinary. So let's talk about how to create the kind of mission that students will be really inspired by and will sign up for in droves. Introducing the Mission Possible template. And it goes like this. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is X. So what you want to do is fill in the X with the specific mission of your course. The great thing about this fill in the blank template for your mission statement is that it forces you to look at your course from your students' perspective. What's their mission? What exactly are they saying yes to? It's not just what you want to teach or deliver, which is where most course creators go wrong before they even get started. It's the result your students want in their lives, that future version of themselves they're hoping to become through and thanks to your course. So let's look at the mission of the Experience Product Masterclass. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to design, launch, and profit from an experience product in 12 weeks or less. Now, how did that land for you? Can you see how, with the right mission, your students instantly know exactly what they're going to do and exactly how long it's going to take them to get to the finish line? To know what winning looks like. Can you see how that can be super motivating for people? And the good news is that super motivated people buy. It makes it much easier to get people into your course when you're super clear on your course mission and you communicate that mission through the right mission possible template. It's this crystal clarity around mission that's led to both millions of dollars in sales and thousands of testimonials for EPM. Because if there's one thing I know to be true, it's this: when students win, you win. So let me share the 3 common mistakes my students make when they draft their mission possible statement. Because what you'll hear over the next few minutes could literally make the difference between a course that sits on the shelf and a course that flies off the shelf. The number 1 mistake that so many course creators make is getting stuck in the how hole before they've clearly established the what and the why through a powerful mission. Here's an example from my student Sarah. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to design a business around your craft using step-by-step mini modules each month to get more customers, to get online and to start wholesaling and so much more. Now, how did that land for you? Right? Newsflash, nobody cares about the step-by-step mini modules when they're still trying to understand what you do and why it matters for them. I'm not denying having a great course is super important, but when you focus too much, too soon on the small details of the course, you run the real risk of losing sight of the bigger picture of why it's so important to your potential customers. What will it mean for them? What will they be able to do now that they weren't ever able to do before? In other words, what's in it for them? Let me give you another example of a course mission that gets stuck in that dreaded how hole, since this is the most common mistake I see. Now, this example is from EPM grad Catherine, and it has a whole lot of how. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is 6 weeks from now, you'll face English tests and vocabulary study with new skills and confidence in your ability to recognize, understand, and master new words. You'll also have learned and used well over 100 word families, over 300 individual words if you count noun, adjective, and adverb forms, with bonus practice for the future if you want it for another 100 to 200 more. Snooze fest, right? Can you see how quickly you checked out while I was reading that? After a few revisions, Catherine was able to come up with this. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to face English tests with confidence, knowing that you've mastered the 100 essential word families you need to instantly answer 80% of all English test questions right in just 6 weeks. Now, how did that make you feel? Can you see the difference? Much better, right? Can you see how powerful it can be to get your mission down to one simple sentence? We cut half the words and it's twice as powerful. Less really can be more. If you need to use more than 2 sentences to say what you're doing, that's a surefire sign that you're either falling into the how hole or making the second big mistake with your course mission, which is trying to serve too many masters. Here's an example from my student Elizabeth. Your mission, should you choose to accept, is to go from being the under-recognized wallflower at work to an invaluable asset so you can fully embrace your worth, ask for a promotion, and be recognized for your unique contributions in 90 days or less. Elizabeth, really, she's trying to cover too much ground here by focusing on both an internal shift and an external shift. So together we edited this to suggest the internal shift in what I call a pre-qualifying statement. So we could focus her core mission on the external shift, which is the main reason students sign up, to get that promotion. Do you feel overlooked or even invisible in your job? Your mission, should you choose to accept, is to create a 90-day bulletproof plan to become an invaluable asset and get the promotion that you deserve. Elizabeth's mission now is super clear and specific with a single point focus that students can instantly grok. If it's not immediately apparent who your mission is for, you may want to consider adding a simple pre-qualifying statement before your mission like Elizabeth does here. Do you feel overlooked or even invisible in your job? This opening question helps people know whether or not this program is for them, and it helps attract the kind of person Elizabeth most wants to work with. This is also a great example of showing how you can create an effective mission statement by promising a plan rather than an outcome. My students always worry about promising something they can't deliver on. And the truth is, Elizabeth can't promise her students will get a promotion. No one can. But what she can promise is that they'll leave her course with a 90-day bulletproof plan to get that promotion. Here's the thing. You want your mission possible statement to be so clear and so specific that you could film your students crossing the finish line. Now, can you see how you could film someone creating a 90-day bulletproof plan or learning 100 essential word families? Absolutely. Now, our third and final mistake number 3, is crafting a mission that's just too broad, too general, or too vague. Something that can't be clearly measured or visualized. In a course, it's always better to go an inch wide and a mile deep than it is to go a mile wide and an inch deep. Now, this may sound counterintuitive, but the more specific you are in your mission statement, the more universal you actually become, because only specificity can actually be visualized. Now, let me give you one more before and after example from my student Sharon in the field of time management for nurses. Here's what she came up with. I know much of your life is consumed by your career and you have limited time, and your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to take 6 hours out of your life and learn the truth about where you are in your life and career, discover the passion in your career, and perform at the high levels you know you can. Now, that's super broad, vague, and general, right? Luckily, she came to one of our weekly group coaching calls during EPM, and we worked with her to create this. Are you a nurse who feels like you don't have a life? Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to shave up to 2 hours off every workday and fall back in love with your career by giving me just 6 hours of your time. Big difference, right? Her mission can now be clearly measured and visualized. Mistake number 3 is especially common among people in the personal growth and spirituality mega niches who do deep transformational work. And because of that, it feels challenging to create clear and specific missions. That said, after coaching tens of thousands of students around their mission statement, we've seen time and time again that no matter which mega niche you choose, it's entirely possible to create an effective mission statement. The right mission makes a huge difference on both your sales and your student success, and makes it easier to market and sell too. So your mission today, should you choose to accept it, is to draft your course mission or the specific promise you're making to students using our Mission Possible template. Keep in mind that most people don't nail this on the first pass, and you will most likely revise this many times along the way. Is it worth it? Absolutely yes, because this is going to become the primary marketing message for your course, which attracts your students to you like a magnet. Just keep in mind that the mission statements I've shared with you in this session were a result of a few revisions, so don't worry about getting this 100% perfect today. Just focus on creating a first draft and also take into account the mistakes that I also shared with you in the session as well. Just write something down to get started, because the important thing right now is to just get into action and then stay in action. Because once you have your home run course idea, it's time to turn it into a successful and profitable course that gets your students hooked on achieving their goals through you, which leads to repeat revenue and higher profit per customer. So get to work drafting your course mission today. And if you'd like some feedback on what you came up with, just drop a message into the Facebook group, and the link is right below this video.